Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me on the side of the road in a place called Cleveland, South Carolina, with this 1987 BMW 325is. This is part of BMW's Heritage Collection in Spartanburg, and our job today is to return this car to the collection. We've been out today with Jeff from BMW and the Topher, driving a couple of classic cars, and well, since they aren't here, you can see that they've already gone, they've already gotten a head start, so we are now alone with this 87 325is, and we are going to commute it back into downtown. I think this may be the oldest car we've ever commuted. So today, we're gonna get my raw first impressions on this E30 325is. I've never driven this car. It's pretty fresh. It's only got 59,000 miles on it. Absolutely beautiful spec, gray with the cardinal red interior, sport seats, M-Tech steering wheel, as these all came with. And we're gonna make this walk around quick because we do have to get a move on here. We're already gonna be a little bit late, but I wanted to show you guys the absolute mint state that this E30 is in. Now, the 325is came with the M20B25, so 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline six, in this car making 168 horsepower and 164 pound-feet of torque. And that may not sound like a lot, but this car is very light. It only weighs 2,600 pounds, so just over a ton. We have a 5-speed manual transmission. This is, of course, rear-wheel drive. And it's so little. It's just a little guy. I mean, I would say this is even smaller than a modern day 2 Series. So let's quickly poke around this, and then we'll jump in and we'll get what will be one of my first ever E30 experiences. First thing I always check in these cars is to see if they have a complete toolkit. This one somehow does not, but we have some of a toolkit there. Usually if you have some tools remaining, you know that the car has been properly looked after. This is a car that BMW acquired later on. They have not owned this one since new, but to find one in this nice of shape is very, very rare these days. You can see a pretty good amount of trunk space. Here's my backpack for scale. This has the US spec diving board bumpers, as they were called, which are these bumpers that are actually on shocks, because if you were to get into a low-speed accident, they would compress, and you wouldn't even really be able to tell that you hit anything. In fact, some people in the US drill little holes in the shocks and push the bumpers in on purpose to give it more of a Euro look, which I think is quite funny. The 325is got this little air dam down here, which made it look like it sat a little bit lower to the ground, but this thing does actually have some pretty decent ground clearance. It sits pretty high up. For wheels, oh, they are quite small, and this looks to be somewhat of a period correct design anyway, Michelin tire, but I do see some 2024 date codes on here, so that is always nice to see. And we're on a 195 60R14 squared setup, just some little 14-inch beautiful little basket weave style wheels on this car. Apologies for just kind of the vague knowledge on this. I literally have never driven this car. I'm just getting into it. The Topher and Jeff just kind of tossed me the keys and said, all right, find your way back. So that's what we're doing today. Before we leave though, let's quickly take a look under the hood at this M20B25. What I love about E30s is the hoods open the correct way. Such a cool look. And there it is. This one is Delphin Gray. I love the ones that still have these little stickers to protect your investment. Use genuine BMW parts, which are factory tested and approved. Well, I would sure hope that they are. I wish hoods still opened like this. That is so excellent. Just a pretty simple looking inline six. All right, let's go ahead and shut this. I used to have an E32 735il, the hood opened in the exact same way, and sometimes I would just open it for fun. And we'll jump into this thing. As I mentioned earlier on, every E30 325is got these sport seats. One of the first times we saw these little leg adjusters in here, but instead of having something you grab on and pull out like a modern M car would, this has a little twist knob. You can see there are some crumbs in there, earning its name Crumb Collector, its nickname rather, of Crumb Collector. And what is probably my favorite part about these sport E30s, this M-Tech steering wheel. Absolutely beautiful, simple, and your little M tricolors down here at the bottom. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and start this thing up, and we'll get it out on the road. Ignition key is pretty high up. Put this into neutral. And it comes to life. 59,033 miles on this. This is a pretty well looked after E30. Nicer ones do of course exist, but I would probably put this one in the top 20% of all existing cars. We've got this little cubby here, which was actually used for cigarettes, it looks like. Heck yeah, somebody really enjoyed this car in the 1980s. Our little check control gauge up here, we can see all systems are working as they should. If something was wrong, we'd have a little red warning light up there, but we can check and see, yep, all the bulbs work and all systems are in order. Now this has air conditioning, but Jeff from BMW tells me that it doesn't blow cold. Ooh, don't idle like that. All right, we're gonna do navigation here on the Apple Watch, and we're just gonna go for a drive. Love the driver-centric dashboard design here in these E30s. Everything's tilted towards the driver. Let's try and get some airflow going in here. Turn the AC on, that'll actually bump our idle up a little bit. That will help things. Little cassette player. We have a sunroof in this car, sun visors, power windows, which work. Absolute treat. And what looks to be actually a pretty usable rear seat. Unfortunately, we don't have time to test it today, so let's just go ahead and start driving. Super open greenhouse in this car. Fantastic visibility. This is, of course, before the days where safety standards kind of ruined good visibility in cars. Okay, this is it. My first ever drive in this car, so forgive me if I'm a little bit sloppy at first. Haven't had any time to practice in this thing, but we are up to temp. So let's get it out on the road and see what it's got. That's third, okay. I wanted to make sure. Oh, this feels great. Nice, smooth, pretty modern feeling inline six, honestly, more than I expected. We've got a blinking check light, but according to our check control, it's only for the washer fluid, so we're all good. Nothing to worry about there. We've got a mile till we turn left. Steering's a little loose in this car. It's okay, we'll forgive it. Also, I feel like I'm echoing in here. That's how much of an open greenhouse we have in this car. I'm actually echoing. Oh man. Honestly, pretty easy to drive once you get used to it. Ride quality feels great. We have the multi-trailing arm setup rear suspension in this car, which is actually the same sort of setup that I have on my BMW Z3M Roadster. So when BMW came out with the Z3, they kept this older suspension design from the E30, which definitely an interesting choice. That's all she wants to do. 5,000 RPM seems to be our hard cutoff for today. That's all right. We just need to get this thing back. It's a challenge of, can I get this car back? I think it'll make it just fine. Goes down the road real nice and smooth. No real vibrations. I'm not feeling anything too crazy. The air is blowing kind of cold. Colder than I expected, honestly. I just got out of the E36 M3 Lightweight, which I don't know if you guys are seeing that video before or after this one, but that had no air conditioning, so this feels great right now to be in a car that has, I guess we'll call it mild air conditioning. We do have cruise control in here. How does that work? Oh. There we go. Okay, so you push it away from you, and then you hold. Okay, I don't know. I'm not going to mess with that, but it seems like it works. Keeping an eye on our temp gauge here. Jeff said temps were getting a little bit high up in traffic, so we'll have to make sure we monitor that. But that's part of the thrill with driving an old car like this, is you have to be engaged with the experience, because you have to make sure that the car stays fine just as much as you stay fine. I don't know how accurate this speedo is, but I definitely don't feel like I'm going 70 miles an hour right now. I think it might be a little bit optimistic. Definitely feel the lightness of this car, 2,600 pounds, like I said. It's crazy how little this thing is. Just the fact that this was their idea of a 3 Series back in the 1980s. Gears are a little bit shorter than they were in that E36 that I just got out of. At 65, probably, miles an hour, we are revved at almost 3,000 RPM. Here, we'll pace this van and see what he's doing. I think the only other E30 I've ever driven was an absolute basket case of a car that my friend Dane had back when we were in high school. It was an 87, just like this one, but it was a 325e, which was actually where this car started. 325e was the introduction of this M20, and then the 325i and then 325is got a little bit of a power bump. They were a little bit sportier. But anyway, Dane's 325e, it was a 4-door, but it had this beautiful M-Tech wheel. It was a 5-speed manual. We don't know how many miles were on that car because the odometer didn't work, but I would assume it was like 300,000 or something crazy. But it's cool to be in one that does feel pretty dialed in. Get this thing merged onto the highway. Oh boy. Oh, don't like that. The car is not happy. All right, we're gonna give it very small throttle inputs. Come on. You know you want to get back. You're a determined little car. Yeah, it's not liking any throttle input over about 10% right now. It just falls on its face. All right, well, we're going to cruise in the right lane. Horn works. That's good. We're going to put these windows down a little bit. Get some fresh air going in here. Oh, yeah. Those window switches are very hot to the touch. I'm just going to let myself and the camera breathe for a second. But on the highway, we're doing just fine. This sport seat is very comfortable. I'm a big fan of it. Brakes feel really nice in this car. Nice wooden pedal feel, good bite. Car is idling at many different RPMs. Come on, you want to idle. You know you want to idle. You know you want to idle. There you go. That's a good idle. Yeah, I knew you could do it. Good job. Oh no. No, 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 no. Keep this energy. Give me all the power that you have to give. I love classic cars. It's always, you know, you have to be on your toes, which is fun. I mean, not for all people, of course, but for people that care about cars, it's fun to be able to think and like problem solve as you drive. A lot of these have broken odometers, and a lot of the time it's because the gears will strip out when people reset the trip while the car is rolling. But this one has a perfectly working odometer. It's got a crack-free dash. One small interesting tidbit, actually. I almost bought one of these when I was a teenager. There was a white, it was actually an ES, because they did an IS and an ES. Oh dear, no, no, no. Even throttle. This might be all, this is all we're gonna get. I have to rev this out some. Trust in myself to return this car. All right, 40, 45, there it is. All right, cruising speed, we've got momentum. So I almost bought a 325 ES back in, I think, 2018, and I was actually on the bus to Chicago from Ann Arbor to buy it, and the guy texted me when I was 30 minutes out from Chicago, and he said, "Bro, I'm so sorry. My girlfriend just went into labor." Classic excuse, which means he sold it to somebody else, and then, you know, I never heard from him again. So I enjoyed my weekend in Chicago, but I'm actually glad that that didn't work out, because I ended up with an absolute peach of an NA Miata, which some of you OGs will have seen on the Topher channel back in 2018. It was a red 96 NA Miata. Running good, temp gauge good. Check. Yep, good. Good car. not power. Okay, we have power back. This is a happy car, currently. Into fifth. There we go. I mean, when it's behaving properly, it drives pretty modern. Steering is... it's a little vague. There's a lot of body roll. It's like... yeah, there's a pretty alarming amount of body roll with this car, but it's fun. You know, you get the sense that it's a plucky little thing. It's light. It wants to dive into a corner and use that body roll to its advantage. NVH here, fine. It's really not that loud. Elbow comfiness, not great. I've just got some hard plastic, which I'm not going to knock on very hard. I want to keep this interior in as pristine shape as it already is. And then there's no armrest at all in the middle. There's just a parking brake, and that's it. This is back when BMW actually made like very simple cars. There's really nothing going on in here. But that's the reason people, including myself, love these so much. I think it's funny that these have this little cutout in the dashboard with little separators, as if like you were meant to set things in there. I just feel like anything you put in there would just go flying either across the dashboard and into your lap or out the passenger window. Like, I don't know what the thought process behind that was, and maybe there is a different use for it that someone in the comments will let me know. Got a little display here in the middle, which I don't know what it's telling me right now, UHR. But you can make that say a lot of things. You can have your average MPG in there, the outside temperature, your fuel range, which we've got allegedly 411 kilometers of range. Got this all the way to me. That's all the way on cold. I could also open up the floor vent though. That's a lot quieter, but then I don't have air on me. I have to have air on myself. Really good vent placement. I mean, you hear them hissing, so sorry about that, but really, really nice, just right central. I mean, BMW currently could learn from themselves with this car with where they put the vents, because this is fantastic. Just nice central placement. Even this one to the left here, very good. Well, this is fun. You know, I always like getting in something that's old, a little bit out of the ordinary. Cars like this just really don't exist. I mean, E30s, especially in Michigan, they all rusted away. You never see them, and if you do, people want way too much money for them. So it's nice to be able to experience one. Super long throws from this shifter. I mean, you guys can see. Like, watch this shift from 3 to 4. I like it though, honestly. This shifter doesn't feel like any sort of modern BMW shifter. I think from E36 generation up until current, they all have the same kind of rubbery feel. Whereas this one, it's got like a little bit of that rubberiness to it, but for the most part, it's a pretty tight and direct shifter. I mean, this is really not a lot of play for a car from 1987. But this is, in my opinion, kind of the best way to enjoy a car like this. Windows down, relaxing your left arm out the window, and just cruise. You know, don't really care that I'm behind a Sprinter van right now, just enjoying the drive. That is just beautiful linear power. When it gets it right, when it's not cutting my throttle, that is just pure bliss. Oh, the check thing stopped flashing. Ride quality here is fantastic. A lot of that, I'm sure, comes down to the fact that we're on 14-inch wheels with huge sidewalls, but they had the suspension pretty well dialed in here. I like a good kind of like soft, cushy ride, and this is pretty soft and cushy here. Definitely not necessarily what you'd want for like spirited driving, but luckily lots of aftermarket support for E30s. Do not have to leave them stock. I feel like naming it. This is like a car that you would give a name. I shall call it Bill. Lots of good people named Bill, including Bill Oberlin, who's a driver for BMW. I think Bill the BMW's got a nice kind of ring to it. Bill, I need you to get me back. This is actually back in the day when the cigarette lighter was actually meant to light your cigarettes. Kids of the 1900s, you know what it was like to pick one of these up and not understand that it was lit and touch it to your finger and have a big burn mark on your hand wherever you touch that thing to. Loving the visibility out of this, as I've said time and time again. And those rear quarter windows actually pop out too. You can vent those. Such a cool thing. I always love when I see E30s rolling with their little quarter windows popped out. It's the California way. My dream is always to be driving down PCH with the windows out. Ooh, if I don't have to stop, that will be fabulous. Yep, that's the ticket. Steering weight is just about perfect. I mean, it's got some nice weight to it, but it's not overly heavy. Let's see here. Feels quite nice. Turning right here. Turning circle and maneuverability here is fantastic. Oh no, come on. Don't do this to me. I've got no throttle. There it is. Just 6.5 more miles. That's all we have to do. Go over these railroad tracks. Ride quality, tip top. Oh yeah. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, I have throttle. I always get a little bit nervous when someone honks the horn and points at the car. Are you saying you like the car, or am I on fire? Just love the placeability on this thing. It's so small. It's honestly like the perfect size for an car. Like when I think of car, this is the size that I would like to have. One car, please. Yes, sir. And then they hand me one of these. That would be ideal. Passing by the Spartanburg BMW assembly plant right now, where they build, I think, all of the X cars, from the X1 all the way up to the XM. They're all built just to the right. BMW has a massive production facility here. Alrighty guys, well, this is just about gonna wrap it up for us today. We're gonna end it here at this natural gas station. Just to keep the specific location of the warehouse, we want to keep that anonymous for BMW. So we're going to end it right here, but just know Billiam has done his work and he has made it as far as he needs to make it. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up. We'll give you one last look at this 325is. I am going to leave it running. Let's just do one last little walk around before it idles itself to death. But there you go. A little commute, or a large commute, I suppose, in this 1987 BMW 325is. Let me know what you think of this E30. I had a good time in this thing. A lot of soul, a lot of character. Would love to have one of these someday. I think it's the perfect size. Lots of good power and torque when it's happy, when it's running the way it should be. Love the 5-speed transmission, love the twin exhaust tips out the back. All right, I'm gonna jump back in this thing before it decides to die. But thank you guys all so much for watching, and we will see you very soon in the next video. Take care.